The needle bit into Zora's arm before the scream could even climb her throat. She stumbled back, the world tilting on its axis, her vision swimming in sudden, nauseating grease. The last thing her brain registered was the face of the homeless man, a face that was shifting, melting like wax under a flame, revealing something sharp and terrifying beneath. Then the universe snapped shut. Darkness. Absolute and suffocating. If you want to witness a love that defies centuries and a power that could shatter the world, you need to watch this until the very last second. Trust me, you are not ready for what Zora is about to unleash. Before we dive into this rabbit hole of ancient secrets and forbidden bloodlines, do yourself a favor, smash that subscribe button right now. You need to be locked in to see what happens next, because this story is just getting started. When her eyelids fluttered open, the world was too bright, too loud. She was still on the same street corner. The August humidity still clung to her skin like a damp sheet, and her breasts ached with a heaviness that was almost bruising. But the man, the attacker, was gone. Zora frantically rubbed her arm. Smooth skin. Unblemished mahogany. No puncture wound, no blood, no lingering sting of a needle. Had she hallucinated the whole thing? Her phone buzzed against her hip, a jarring tether to reality. It was her mother, Viola. Where are you, Zora? Nari has been crying for an hour. She won't take the bottle. Zora shook her head, trying to banish the cobwebs of the blackout. She started walking, her legs feeling like they belonged to someone else. 3 blocks down, the déjà vu hit her like a physical blow. She saw him. Not the attacker, but the man from her vision. He was huddled on a different corner, slumped against the brickwork of an old bodega. He wore the same tattered jacket, stained with the grime of the city, but the air around him felt heavy, charged. A circle of onlookers had formed, the modern-day vultures, holding up their smartphones to record the misery rather than alleviate it. Zora's nursing instincts overrode the screaming alarm bells in her head. She pushed through the wall of bodies, her knees hitting the concrete as she slid beside him. Sir? Can you hear me? His eyelids fluttered, revealing irises that seemed too dark, like deep wells. Recognition sparked there, a terrified, desperate familiarity that made no sense because Zora had never seen this man in her life. Or had she? It felt like remembering a dream just as it slipped away. Please, he rasped, his voice a broken instrument, heavily accented. So hungry, days, no food. His hand shot out, gripping her wrist. It wasn't the weak grasp of a starving man. It was iron hard, trembling with a restrained power. His skin was hypothermic, radiating a cold that burned. Somewhere in the gallery of bystanders, a cruel laugh erupted. He's faking, lady. They always are. Zora tuned them out. She fumbled with her purse, ripping open a protein bar, but when she pressed it toward him, his hand went slack. His head lolled back, hitting the brick. His breathing hitched, turning shallow and rapid. Someone call 911. Zora shouted, her voice cracking. Already did, a woman drawled, phone held high to capture the best angle. 10 minutes out. 10 minutes. He didn't have 10 minutes. Zora looked at his face, watching the color drain away, leaving him a translucent, deathly gray. This wasn't malnutrition. This was a system failure. His pulse fluttered under her fingertips like a trapped bird, erratic and fading. Then she heard it. Not with her ears, but inside the marrow of her bones. A voice. Clear. Ancient. Commanding. He needs life. Give him life. Zora froze. The voice didn't belong to her. It didn't belong to anyone she knew. It felt like truth carved into granite tablets, undeniable and absolute. Her chest throbbed, a painful, rhythmic reminder of her motherhood. The milk was coming down, triggered not by her daughter's cry, but by this dying stranger's proximity. Nari's feeding time had passed hours ago, and Zora's body was screaming for release. The logical part of her brain, the nurse, the mother, the sane woman, screamed no. It was inappropriate. It was insane. The crowd would film it. It would be everywhere. Her job at the clinic, her reputation, her carefully reconstructed life, everything could vanish in a viral heartbeat. But the man's chest had stopped moving. The silence of his heart was deafening. Zora made a decision that would shatter the boundaries of her reality. She lifted him slightly, cradling his head against the crook of her arm. Shielding herself with the oversized lapels of her jacket, creating a private sanctuary in the middle of the public chaos, she guided him to her breast. The crowd went silent. The hush was heavy, judgmental. Then the whispers started rising like a tidal wave. Is she seriously? Oh my God. Are you getting this? That is disgusting. But Zora felt none of their judgment. She felt something else entirely. The moment his lips touched her skin, a circuit closed. Warmth didn't just spread, it exploded through her chest. It wasn't sexual. It was elemental. It felt like someone had mixed liquid electricity with concentrated sunlight and poured it into her veins. The milk flowed, and with it, energy seemed to pour from the very core of her soul into his. His eyes snapped open. Really open. And they glowed. Not metaphorically. Not a trick of the streetlights. They actually glowed. A soft, iridescent golden light that spilled out of his sockets and illuminated Zora's face, making everyone in the crowd gasp and step back. Zora tried to pull away, terrified by the sensation of her own life force being siphoned, but his hand caught her wrist again. This time, the grip wasn't desperate, it was gentle, reverent. Don't stop, he whispered, his voice gaining resonance. Please, not yet. The glow intensified. It wasn't just in his eyes anymore. It was pulsing beneath his skin, chasing away the gray, knitting together unseen wounds. People were shouting now. Panic rippled through the onlookers. Some ran, their shoes slapping against the pavement. Others retreated but kept recording, their hands shaking so hard the footage would be a blur. Zora's mind raced, a hamster on a wheel of denial. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. Physics didn't work like this. Biology didn't work like this. But the warmth in her chest was the only truth that mattered. Something was transferring from her to him. Something beyond nutrition. Beyond science. It was pure, distilled life. When he finally released her, the glow faded into a low hum beneath his skin. He sat up slowly, the movement fluid and powerful. The transformation was impossible to deny. The pallor of death was gone, replaced by a vibrant flush. His hands were steady. Even his ragged clothes seemed to hang differently on him, as if his nobility had returned to fill them out. He stared at Zora with an expression she couldn't decode. It was gratitude, yes, but mixed with something deeper, recognition. As if he had been searching for her across oceans of time. Thank you, he said. His English was perfect now, the heavy accent completely evaporated. You passed. Zora blinked, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. Past what? She pulled her jacket tight, feeling exposed, violated, and exhilarated all at once. What just happened? Sirens wailed in the distance, cutting through the humidity. The spell broke. The crowd surged forward again, emboldened by the arrival of authority. Someone grabbed Zora's shoulder, trying to spin her toward their camera lens. Hey, look over here. The man stood up. His movements were graceful, predatory. He pressed something into her palm, cool, sleek, metallic. A card. Black with silver writing in a script she didn't recognize. Go home, he said quietly, his voice cutting through the noise of the approaching sirens. Feed your daughter. In 3 days, go to this address. Alone. They will be watching. Who will be watching? Zora demanded, her voice trembling. And how do you know about Nari? His smile was sad, ancient, carrying the weight of centuries. Because this isn't the first time we've met, Zora. You just don't remember yet. He turned and melted into the crowd. Zora tried to follow, to grab him, to demand answers, but bodies pressed in from all sides, a wall of flesh and curiosity. News vans were screeching to a halt at the curb. The ambulance arrived, paramedics pushing through with a stretcher, shouting for people to move. Where's the patient? One of them yelled. Zora pointed a shaking finger toward the alleyway. He was right there. He was. But the space was empty. The man had vanished completely, as if he had never existed. A reporter shoved a microphone into her face, the foam cover brushing her cheek. Ma'am, can you explain what we just witnessed? Why did you do that? Was it a stunt? Zora ran. She turned on her heel and ran until her lungs burned, until the voices faded behind her, until the city blurred into a streak of neon and gray. She didn't stop until she reached her mother's apartment building, collapsing against the heavy glass of the entrance door. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notifications were flooding in Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The video was already going viral. Her face was everywhere. But all she could think about was the card in her hand and the impossible words he'd spoken. This isn't the first time we've met. Zora looked at the card under the flickering streetlight. The silver writing shifted. The ink seemed to crawl across the black paper, rearranging itself into English before her eyes. An address in Koreatown. A date, August 18th. 3 days from now. And one more line that made her blood run cold, freezing the marrow in her bones. Your daughter's life depends on it. The door to the apartment swung open before Zora could even knock. Viola Bennett stood there, Nari wailing in her arms, her face a mask of worry and exhaustion. 3.5 hours, Zora. 3.5 hours I've been calling you. Viola stopped mid-sentence. Her eyes narrowed, scanning her daughter's disheveled state. What happened to you? You look like death warmed over. Zora didn't speak. She reached out and took Nari, pressing her daughter against her chest. The baby's crying stopped immediately as she latched on, a frantic, desperate connection. The relief was physical, immediate, washing over Zora like a cool rain. But her hands wouldn't stop shaking. I'm fine, Mama, Zora lied, her voice hollow. Just a long day. Hum. Viola's expression said she didn't believe a word. She crossed her arms, the fabric of her house dress straining. Your face is all over my phone, Zora. Some mess about you and a homeless man on Broad Street. People are saying you lost your mind. Zora's stomach dropped through the floor. It's not what it looks like. Well, what it looks like is my daughter making a spectacle of herself for the whole world to see, Viola snapped, though there was fear beneath the anger. I got 12 messages already from the church ladies asking if you're alright, if we need to come pray over you. And Kwon Jiwoo's mother called. Zora's head snapped up. The name hit her like a physical slap. Sukja called you? Said she saw the video, Viola said, her voice dropping an octave. Asked if you were having some kind of breakdown. Asked if maybe you weren't fit to care for Nari right now. She has no right, Zora hissed. Viola's face softened. She stepped closer, placing a hand on Zora's trembling shoulder. Baby, what is going on? This isn't like you. You're steady. You're strong. What happened out there? Zora wanted to explain. She wanted to tell her mother about the glow, the warmth that felt like sunlight, the impossible transformation of the man, the card burning a hole in her pocket, and the message that said her daughter's life hung in the balance. But how could she explain what she didn't understand herself? How could she say she had fed a stranger and felt the universe shift? Mama, I need to go to my place. I'll call you tomorrow. Zora Bennett, please. Just talk to me. Trust me, Mama. Please. Something in Zora's voice, a raw, jagged edge of panic, must have reached Viola, because she stepped back, letting her pass. But as Zora walked toward the stairs, clutching Nari tight, Viola called out one last thing. That man in the video. He looked Korean. Like Jiwoo. Zora froze on the third step. I know you still love him, baby, Viola said softly. I know you're hoping he'll come back. Be the father Nari deserves. But chasing ghosts ain't gonna fix your heart. He wasn't Jiwoo, Zora whispered. He wasn't. I know. I'm just saying, be careful. Your heart's already been broken once. Don't let it get shattered. Zora left without responding. The walk to her apartment was only 4 blocks, but it felt like crossing a minefield. She kept looking over her shoulder, expecting to see cameras, reporters, or worse, the man himself, materializing from the shadows like smoke. Her phone buzzed constantly, a relentless hive of digital noise, even though she'd turned off notifications. The device felt hot in her pocket, radioactive. Inside her apartment, she locked every lock, deadbolt, chain, handle. She checked every window. Then she placed Nari in her crib, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall. So peaceful. So innocent. Unaware that something impossible, something ancient, had just collided with her mother's life. Zora pulled out the black card under the harsh light of her desk lamp. The silver writing was perfectly still now, etched into the material. The address was in the heart of Koreatown, a neighborhood she knew well from her years with Jiwoo, before everything fell apart. Before he disappeared without explanation, leaving her 6 months pregnant and alone. The date was clear. August 18th. 3 days from now. 9 p.m. And that last line, glowing slightly brighter than the rest, mocking her fear, your daughter's life depends on it. Zora's phone rang, the sound making her jump so hard she nearly knocked over the lamp. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Every instinct said to throw the phone out the window. But something curiosity, dread, fate, made her press accept. Zora Bennett? A woman's voice. Calm. Professional. Speaking English with a crisp Korean accent that sounded like glass cutting paper. Who is this? My name is Dr. Moon Hwa-young. I work at the Korean Cultural Institute downtown. I saw what happened today on Broad Street. Zora's grip tightened on the phone until her knuckles turned white. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not calling to judge you, Miss Bennett. I'm calling to warn you. A heavy pause hung on the line. The man you helped today. Kwon Tae-hyun. He is not what he appears to be. Zora's breath caught in her throat. Kwon. The homeless man's surname was Kwon. Just like her ex. Just like Nari's father. How do you know his name? Zora whispered. Because we've been looking for him for 3 years. And we've been looking for you even longer. The room suddenly felt smaller, colder, as if the walls were closing in. What are you talking about? You received a card, didn't you? With an address in Koreatown. Zora said nothing, but her silence was answer enough. Dr. Moon continued, her voice gaining urgency. Don't go to that address. Whatever they promised you, whatever they said about your daughter, it is a lie. Kwon Tae-hyun is dangerous. The organization he works for is dangerous. They've been testing people across the city for months. You are not the first woman they've approached, Zora. But you're the first who passed. Passed what? What kind of test? Zora's voice rose, hysteria bubbling at the edges. Nari stirred in her crib, letting out a soft whimper. Zora forced herself to speak quietly, pressing the phone against her ear. And what does any of this have to do with my daughter? Everything, Dr. Moon said. It has everything to do with Nari. And with who her father really is. Zora's blood went cold. What do you know about Jiwoo? What do you know about Nari's father? Meet me tomorrow. There's a cafe on the corner of 5th and Spring. Green awning. It's called Soul Garden. Be there at noon. Come alone. And do not tell anyone where you are going. If they are watching you, and they are, we need to be careful. Why should I trust you? Because in 48 hours, if you go to that address on the card, you will disappear just like the others. And your daughter will be taken to a place where you will never find her. Dr. Moon's voice dropped lower, vibrating with fear. Zora, the man you breastfed today isn't homeless. He isn't helpless. He is one of the most powerful people in an organization that has been hidden for centuries. And what you gave him today, that energy, that life force, it wasn't just kindness. It was the key they've been searching for. The key to finding others like you. Others like me. I don't understand any of this, Zora cried softly. I know. That is why we need to meet. But Zora, listen to me carefully. Do not go to that address in 3 days. No matter what the card says. No matter what threats they make. Promise me. Zora looked at Nari, sleeping peacefully. Your daughter's life depends on it. They said Nari's life depends on it, Zora said. Your daughter's life depends on you staying away. They are lying to you. It is what they do. They find people with gifts, people who don't even know they are special, and they exploit them. Use them. Then dispose of them when they are no longer useful. What gift? I'm a nurse. I work at a free clinic. I'm nobody special. You are wrong about that. The fact that you could give Kwon Tae-hyun life force, that your body produced what he needed, that the transfer worked at all, it means you are a carrier. And carriers are rarer than you can imagine. Zora's head was spinning. None of this made sense. Gifts. Life force. Organizations hidden for centuries. It sounded like a screenplay, not real life. But the glow had been real. The warmth had been real. I have to go, Zora said. Wait. Tomorrow. Noon. Soul Garden. Please, Zora. For Nari's sake. If not your own. The line went dead. If you are shivering right now, if you can feel the danger closing in on Zora and Nari, you need to engage with this story. Hit that like button if you're rooting for Zora. Drop a comment below. Who do you think is lying? The man with the glowing eyes or the doctor on the phone? Let me know your theories, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the moment the truth drops. Zora sat in the darkness of her apartment, watching the city lights blur through her window. Somewhere out there, the homeless man named Kwon Tae-hyun was no longer homeless. Somewhere out there, people were watching her, tracking her, waiting. She picked up her laptop and opened it. The video was everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Millions of views already. Comments ranged from supportive to vicious. Some called her a saint. Others called her insane. A few called her something worse. But it was the comments in Korean that caught her attention. Dozens of them. All saying variations of the same thing. She is one of them. The bloodline continues. They finally found another carrier. Zora used an online translator on a few of the comments. Most translated poorly, but one came through clear as crystal. The council will be pleased. The ceremony can finally happen. What ceremony? What council? She searched for Kwon Tae-hyun Korea and found nothing. She searched for Korean Cultural Institute Dr. Moon Wa-young and found a website. But when she clicked on the staff directory, the page wouldn't load. Error 404. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. This time, a text message. Zora. It's Tae-hyun. The man you saved. I know you have questions. I know you're scared. Meet me tomorrow night. Same corner where you found me. 8 p.m. I'll explain everything. And I'll tell you the truth about Nari's father. About the man you loved. About why he really left. Zora's hands trembled as she read the message again. Kwon Tae-hyun knew about Jiwoo. The homeless man knew about her ex. How was that possible? No, that was impossible. Her Jiwoo had been a graduate student. Sweet. Shy. He'd worked at his family's restaurant and studied business. He'd been normal. Human. He'd left because he was scared of being a father. That's what Viola said. That's what everyone said. But he'd never called. Never texted. Never tried to see his daughter. It was like he'd vanished from the earth. Zora looked at Nari again. Really looked at her. Her daughter had Jiwoo's eyes, dark, deep, and sometimes, when the light hit them just right, they seemed to glow just slightly. Just like the homeless man's eyes had glowing on Broad Street. Zora grabbed the black card again. The silver writing had changed. Where there had been an address, now there was a new message. You have 68 hours to decide. Choose wisely. The child's fate is in your hands. A countdown. They were giving her a countdown. But a countdown to what? Zora's phone lit up with yet another message. This one was from a number she recognized. Her ex-boyfriend Jiwoo's number. The one that had been disconnected for over a year. The message was simple. Just 2 words. I'm sorry. Then a photo loaded beneath the text. Zora's breath stopped. It was a picture of Jiwoo, her Jiwoo, standing in what looked like an ornate temple or palace. He was wearing traditional Korean clothes, the kind worn in historical dramas, rich fabrics, vibrant colors, expensive silk. Behind him stood dozens of people, all dressed similarly, all staring at the camera with expressions that were neither friendly nor hostile. Just watching. Waiting. And in the front row, holding Jiwoo's hand, was the homeless man from Broad Street. Kwon Tae-hyun. Except he wasn't homeless in this photo. He was dressed like royalty. Like someone important. Someone powerful. The 2 Kwons stood side by side. Brothers. The room tilted. Zora gripped the edge of her desk, trying to remember how to breathe. Nari's father had a brother. A brother she had just breastfed on a public street corner. A brother who had somehow orchestrated all of this. But why? What did they want from her? What did any of this have to do with her daughter? Another message came through. This time from Dr. Moon. Did you get a message from Tae-hyun? Don't believe anything he says. Don't meet him tomorrow. They're trying to confuse you. Make you doubt everything. It's part of the test. Please, Zora. Soul Garden. Noon. I have documents. Proof. Everything you need to understand what's really happening. Zora looked at the messages. At the photo. At the black card. At her sleeping daughter. 3 different people. 3 different stories. 3 different meetings. And only 68 hours to figure out which one was telling the truth. Zora made a decision. She would go to all 3 meetings. She would listen to everyone. And then she would decide. But first, she needed to know something. She walked to her closet and pulled out a box from the top shelf. Inside were photos of her and Jiwoo during their relationship. Happy memories, or what she thought were happy memories. She'd avoided looking at these photos for a year. Too painful. Too raw. But now she studied them with different eyes. In every single photo where Jiwoo was smiling at the camera, his eyes had that same slight glow. She'd never noticed before. Had thought it was just the camera flash or the lighting. But now she knew better. Zora's phone rang again. This time she recognized the number, her supervisor from the clinic. Zora, we need to talk. The board saw the video. They're concerned about your judgment. About whether you're fit to continue working with vulnerable populations. I need you to come in tomorrow morning for a meeting. 9 a.m. Don't be late. The call ended before Zora could respond. She was losing everything. Her job. Her privacy. Her sense of reality. And somewhere out there, people were watching, counting down, waiting for her to make the wrong choice. Zora looked at Nari one more time, then picked up her phone and typed a message to Dr. Moon. I'll be there. Noon. Soul Garden. But I need answers. Real answers. No more riddles. The response came immediately. You'll get them. And Zora, one more thing. Don't drink anything tomorrow before our meeting. Don't eat anything. They might try to drug you to make you compliant. Stay alert. Zora deleted all the messages and turned off her phone completely. Then she wedged a chair under her door handle and checked every window lock twice. She didn't sleep that night. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow looked like it was moving. And in her mind, she kept seeing the homeless man's eyes glowing golden in the August heat. Kept hearing his voice. This isn't the first time we've met. What did that mean? When had they met before? And why couldn't she remember? Zora walked to her bathroom mirror and stared at her reflection. Same face. Same brown eyes. Same exhausted expression she'd worn for the past year since becoming a single mother. But something was different. There, just barely visible beneath her collarbone, where the homeless man had fed, was a mark. Small. Circular. Glowing very faintly with the same golden light she'd seen in his eyes. Zora touched it, and warmth spread through her chest again. The same warmth from earlier, the same energy. She pulled her hand away, heart racing. Whatever was happening to her, whatever she'd become involved in, it was already changing her. The mark pulsed once, then faded back to normal skin tone. But Zora knew it was still there. Still glowing. Still counting down. Zora stood in front of Soul Garden at 11:45 a.m. 15 minutes early. She hadn't eaten or drunk anything since midnight, just like Dr. Moon had warned. Her stomach growled, but paranoia kept her disciplined. The cafe had a green awning like Dr. Moon described, with Korean characters painted in gold above the English name. Through the window, she could see elderly Korean men playing cards, young couples sharing desserts, a mother feeding her toddler jjajangmyeon. Normal. Everything looked painfully normal. Zora pushed through the door, and a bell chimed. Several heads turned toward her. She was the only black person in the restaurant, and the attention made her skin prickle. But the patrons quickly returned to their meals and conversations. A woman in the back corner raised her hand slightly. She was maybe 50, with sharp features and gray-streaked hair pulled into a tight bun. Professional clothes. Wire-rimmed glasses. She looked exactly like a doctor should look. Zora walked over and sat down without greeting. Thank you for coming, Dr. Moon said in English. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. But my job's probably gone anyway, so what do I have to lose? Dr. Moon slid a folder across the table. Everything in here is classified. I could lose my position for showing you this. But you deserve to know what you're dealing with. Zora opened the folder. The first page was a photocopy of an ancient-looking document covered in Hanja characters. Below it was an English translation. The Covenant of the Lunar Court. Established in the 3rd year of King Sejong's reign. A sacred pact between the celestial guardians and the chosen bloodlines of the peninsula. She looked up. What is this? Some kind of historical fantasy. It's real, Dr. Moon said, her voice barely a whisper. The Lunar Court has existed for over 600 years. They're a secret society, but not like the conspiracies people talk about on the internet. They're older, more powerful, and they've been waiting for someone like you. Dr. Moon flipped to the next page. It showed a family tree, branches extending back centuries. At the bottom were 2 names that made Zora's breath catch. Kwon Taehyun and Kwon Jiwoo. Her Jiwoo was listed. And next to his name, in red ink, was written, bonded to Zora Bennett. Carrier potential confirmed. Bonded. Zora's voice came out strangled. What does that mean? Your relationship with Kwon Jiwoo wasn't an accident, Zora. He was sent to find you. The Lunar Court has records going back generations of certain bloodlines, certain genetic markers that appear in families across the world. Your family has one of those markers. Zora shook her head. My family, we're from Atlanta. My grandparents were from Alabama. There's no Korean connection. This doesn't make sense. It's not about Korean blood, Dr. Moon urged. It's about something else. Something that appears randomly across populations. The ability to channel life force. To transfer energy. To give literal life to those who need it. Dr. Moon leaned forward, her eyes intense behind the wire frames. Your great-grandmother had it. She was a healer in Alabama, wasn't she? They say she could touch people and cure their ailments. Zora felt a chill. She remembered the stories. Grandma Hattie. The women who would come to her back porch at night, whispering about sickness and leaving with jars of herbs and lighter steps. Your grandmother had traces of it, Dr. Moon continued. And you, Zora, you have the full gift. This is insane. Is it? You felt it yesterday, didn't you? When you fed Kwon Taehyun, that wasn't just milk. It was something more. Something that brought him back from the edge of death. Zora couldn't deny it. The warmth. The glow. The transformation. Let's say I believe you, Zora said, closing the folder. Why would they need me? What's the point of all this? Dr. Moon's expression darkened. Because someone in the Lunar Court is dying. Someone very important. And traditional medicine can't save them. But the life force of a carrier can. So they want to use me as a battery? Worse. They've been searching for years. Testing people across the city. What happened yesterday wasn't random. It was the final test. And you passed. The final test, Zora repeated. That's what he said. Kwon Taehyun. He is Jiwoo's older brother. Heir to the family's position in the court. And he is ruthless. If you go to that address in 2 days, they will take your gift. They will drain you. Use you until there's nothing left. And when you can't give any more, they will keep Nari. Because she carries the bloodline too. Zora's hands clenched into fists on the table. They can't have my daughter. Then you need to run tonight. Leave the city. Change your names. I can help you disappear. And spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder? Never knowing if they found us. It's better than the alternative. Zora stared at the documents, at the family trees, at the ancient covenant. Part of her wanted to grab Nari and run like Dr. Moon suggested. But another part, the part that had made her stop for a dying man on a street corner, the part that felt the warmth in her chest, wanted answers. Wanted to know why Jiwoo, her Jiwoo, had really left. What happened to him? Zora asked quietly. To Jiwoo? To Nari's father. Dr. Moon hesitated. He refused to complete his mission. He was supposed to bond with you, confirm you were a carrier, then bring you to the court. But he fell in love with you. Really fell in love. And when he found out you were pregnant, when he realized they would take both you and the child, he ran. Zora felt tears prick her eyes. He ran. The court doesn't forgive desertion. They don't forgive betrayal. Is he alive? I don't know. No one does. He disappeared completely. But Zora, if he is alive, and you go to that meeting, you will put him in even more danger. They will use you as bait to draw him out. Zora closed the folder. Her head was pounding. You said you work at the Korean Cultural Institute. Why are you helping me? What's your connection to all this? Dr. Moon removed her glasses and rubbed her eyes. When she looked up, Zora saw something there. Sorrow. Old, deep pain. Because 20 years ago, I was in your position. They tested me too. I passed. And I gave them what they wanted because I thought I was helping. Thought I was part of something sacred. What did they do? They lied. They used my gift until it nearly killed me. And then, they took my daughter. Zora's blood went cold. Your daughter. She would be 30 now. I haven't seen her since she was 10. They keep her somewhere in the court. Use her. Train her. I've spent 2 decades trying to get her back, trying to expose them. But they are too powerful. Dr. Moon reached across the table, covering Zora's hand. So instead, I try to save the others. The ones they target. I've helped 12 women escape over the years. You could be the 13th. Or I could end this, Zora said, pulling her hand back. Zora, I could go to that meeting and confront them. Demand answers. Demand my daughter's safety. They will never let you leave. Then I'll make sure the whole world is watching. Dr. Moon shook her head. They will jam any signal. Confiscate your phone. You won't get a word out. Then I won't go alone. Zora stood up. Thank you for the information, Dr. Moon. But I can't spend my life running. I need to know the truth. All of it. She left the cafe before Dr. Moon could argue further. The folder stayed on the table. Outside, the afternoon sun was brutal. Zora checked her phone. She turned it back on, and the messages had piled up again. Her supervisor confirming the 9 a.m. meeting she'd missed. Her mother asking where she was. Unknown numbers leaving cryptic warnings. And one message from Kwon Tae-hyun. 8 p.m. tonight. Same corner. Don't be late. I have something that belongs to you. Something that belongs to you. What could that mean? Zora's phone buzzed with an incoming call. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her press accept. Zora. The voice was familiar. Painfully familiar. It sent a shockwave through her entire body. It's me. It's Jiwoo. Not Gent. Not the name of a stranger. Jiwoo. Zora stopped walking. The sidewalk seemed to tilt beneath her feet, the concrete turning into the deck of a ship in a storm. That's not possible, she whispered, her voice trembling so hard it barely registered above the traffic noise. This number has been disconnected for over a year. I called it every day for 6 months. It was dead. I know, Jiwoo said. His voice was ragged, thick with an emotion that sounded terrifyingly like grief. I'm sorry, Zora. I'm so sorry for everything. For the silence. For leaving. But I need to see you tonight. Before you meet my brother. Before you make any decisions that you can't take back. Then explain it to me right now, Zora demanded, gripping the phone like a lifeline. Explain why you left. Explain why you never called. Explain why you let me raise our daughter alone while you played hide-and-seek with some secret society. I can't. Not over the phone. They're listening. They're always listening. Static crackled on the line, sharp and biting. But I can show you. If you meet me. If you trust me just one more time. Zora's eyes burned. She had spent a year hating him. A year building a fortress around her heart, brick by brick. A year telling herself she was better off without him, telling Nari that her father loved her from afar even when she didn't believe it herself. And now he was back, his voice sliding into her ear as if no time had passed at all. Where? Zora asked, the word tasting like ash. There's a park near the Riverwalk. The one with the pagoda. Do you remember it? Where we used to watch the sunset. Zora did remember. They had gone there on their 3rd date. Jiwoo had brought kimbap that his mother made, and he'd told her stories about growing up in the restaurant kitchen. He had been so normal that night. So painfully human. I remember, she said. 6 o'clock. Before sunset. Come alone, Zora. If they see you with anyone, if they think you're recording or broadcasting, they will kill me. I'm not exaggerating. They will kill me, and they will take you anyway. This is the only chance we'll get to talk. How do I know this is really you? Zora asked, her skepticism warring with her hope. How do I know this isn't another trick like the homeless act? Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. Then he spoke, his voice barely a whisper. The night Nari was born. I was there. In the hospital. Zora froze. What? You never saw me. I stayed in the shadows. But I stood outside your room and watched through the window as you held her for the first time. You were crying. Not sad crying, happy crying. And you whispered to her that she was perfect. That she was your morning star. That you'd protect her no matter what came for her. Zora's throat closed up. No one knew that. No one had been in the room except her and the nurse. She had whispered those words into the crown of her daughter's head, thinking she was alone in the universe. You were there, she whispered, the tears finally spilling over. I've always been watching, Zora. Always trying to protect you both from the dark. But they're closing in now. My brother's test yesterday, that was the final step. Now they know for certain what you are. They know what Nari could become. We're running out of time. The call ended. Zora stood on the sidewalk, people flowing around her like water around a stone. 3 meetings. 3 different versions of the truth. And only hours to decide which one to trust. She checked the time on her phone screen, 2:47 p.m. She had 3 hours until meeting Jiwoo. 2 hours after that until meeting Kwon Tae-hyun. And tomorrow night, the address on the black card, the countdown, had dropped to 43 hours. Zora turned and made her way back toward her apartment. Viola had Nari for the afternoon, which was good. Zora needed time to think, to process, to strategize. But as she turned onto her street, the air changed. It felt heavier, thicker. She saw them instantly. 2 black SUVs with tinted windows, parked illegally outside her building. Men in dark suits stood by the entrance, smoking cigarettes with precise, military movements. They weren't hiding. They weren't trying to be subtle. They were sentinels. Waiting. Watching. Zora spun on her heel and walked in the opposite direction, her heart hammering against her ribs like a drum. She pulled out her phone and dialed Viola. Mama, listen to me carefully, Zora said the moment the line connected. Don't ask questions. Don't argue. Take Nari to Auntie Vi's house right now. Zora. Viola's voice was laced with alarm. What's wrong? You sound breathless. Tell Auntie Vi it's an emergency. Tell her code red. Do not tell anyone else where you are going. And do not answer any calls from numbers you don't recognize. Not even mine, unless I leave a voicemail first. Jessica Zora Bennett, you are scaring me. What is happening? Just trust me, Mama. Please. I'll explain everything later, but right now I need you to move. Take the back exit from your building. Don't use the front door. And Mama, if anything happens to me, if I don't call you by tomorrow morning, take Nari and drive to Tennessee. Don't stop. Don't come back to the city. Promise me, baby, Viola's voice cracked. What have you gotten yourself into? Promise me, Mama. I promise. But Zora hung up. She couldn't explain. She couldn't tell her mother that ancient secret societies were real, that her granddaughter carried the genetic code of a mystical bloodline, that the world was stranger and more dangerous than any Sunday sermon had ever warned them. She ducked into a crowded coffee shop, ordering a water just to have a reason to sit down away from the windows. Her hands were shaking so badly she spilled some on the table. The mark on her chest, the circular brand from yesterday, had started to pulse again. It was a dull throb, syncing with her heartbeat. If you are on the edge of your seat right now, wondering if Viola got Nari out in time, hit that like button. We need all the good energy we can get for Zora right now. And seriously, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? You do not want to miss the notification when the truth about Nari's father drops in the next scene. Smash that button. Zora pulled her jacket tighter, even though the cafe was sweltering. She had 2 hours until meeting Jiwoo. 2 hours to decide if she was walking into a trap. But what choice did she have? If she ran, they'd find her eventually. Dr. Moon had said it herself. The Lunar Court was too powerful, too connected. The spiderweb spanned the globe. The only way out was through. Zora pulled up her phone's camera app. She propped it against the napkin holder and hit record. If something happened to her, at least there would be a digital ghost. At least the world would know. My name is Zora Bennett, she said quietly, angling the phone so no one in the cafe could see. If you're watching this, something has happened to me. Yesterday, I helped a man named Kwon Tae-hyun on Broad Street. The video went viral. But what the video didn't show was the glow. The energy transfer. The impossible transformation. She took a shaky breath. Since then, I've been contacted by multiple people claiming to know the truth about what I am. About what my daughter is. About a secret organization called the Lunar Court. I don't know what's real anymore. But I know my daughter is in danger. So, I'm going to meet Kwon Ji-woo, my ex-boyfriend and Nari's father, at 6 p.m. today. If I don't update this video by midnight, please find my daughter. Protect her. And expose these people. Whatever they are. Whatever they want. Don't let them take any more children. She ended the recording and uploaded it to a secure cloud service, setting it to auto-publish to her social channels if she didn't log in within 24 hours. It wasn't much of a shield, but it was something. Zora left the coffee shop and made her way toward the river. The park was a 30-minute walk, but she needed the time to clear her head. To prepare. The streets were crowded with evening commuters. Food trucks sold tteokbokki and hot dogs. Students rushed past with backpacks. Everything was normal. Ordinary. And yet Zora felt like she was moving through a different dimension entirely, one that existed beneath the surface, hidden in the shadows of skyscrapers. She reached the park at 5:52 p.m. The sun was beginning its descent, painting the sky in violent shades of orange and bruised purple. Couples walked hand in hand along the riverbank. Children played on the grass. And there, sitting on the same bench where they'd had their third date, was Ji-woo. He looked different. Older. Harder. His hair was longer, pulled back in a small ponytail that exposed the sharp angles of his jaw. He wore traditional Korean clothes, a modern hanbok in dark navy, similar to the ones in the photo he'd sent. But his face, his eyes, those were the same. The same eyes she had fallen in love with. Zora walked toward him slowly. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to flee, but she kept walking. Ji-woo stood as she approached. His expression was a roadmap of devastation, relief, terror, and longing all colliding at once. Zora, he breathed. You came. You have 5 minutes to explain everything, Zora said, her voice steel. Then I'm gone. I need more than 5 minutes. That's all you're getting. Start talking. Ji-woo looked around, scanning the perimeter for observers. Then he gestured for her to sit. Zora remained standing, arms crossed. Fine, he said, remaining standing too. Everything I told you about my life was a lie, Zora. Not my feelings. Those were real. But everything else. My family doesn't own a restaurant. They're part of the Lunar Court. Have been for 15 generations. I was raised to serve the court. To find carriers. To bring them in. Dr. Moon told me this already. Zora cut in. You were on a mission. I was a target. Yes. But she didn't tell you why. Ji-woo stepped closer, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper. She didn't tell you what the court really does. They aren't just collecting carriers for some dying elder, Zora. They are trying to resurrect something. Something that should have stayed buried in the dark. Zora's skin prickled. Resurrect what? The first guardian. The one who founded the court 600 years ago. She was a shaman. Incredibly powerful. She could channel energy from the spirit world into the physical realm. When she died, her followers preserved her body. They've been trying to bring her back ever since. But it requires massive amounts of life force. More than any single carrier could provide. So, they've been collecting us, draining us, storing the energy like batteries. They're almost ready. They just need one more. Me, Zora said flatly. You. Your gift is stronger than anyone they've found in decades. Strong enough to complete the ritual. But Zora, if they bring her back, if they succeed, she won't be benevolent. She won't be the guardian they remember. 600 years of death? 600 years of hunger? It will have changed her. Twisted her. She will be something else. Something hungry. Why should I believe you? Zora asked, fighting the urge to step back. Why should I trust anything you say? Jiwoo pulled something from his pocket. A small jade pendant on a silver chain. Do you remember this? I gave it to you on our 6-month anniversary. You wore it until the day I left. Zora stared at the green stone. She did remember. She had loved that pendant. She had worn it every day until Jiwoo disappeared, and then, in a fit of rage and grief, she had thrown it into the dumpster behind her apartment. How do you have it? Because I never stopped watching, Jiwoo said softly. I retrieved it from the trash that night. I kept it close. I've been using it to track you, to make sure you were safe. Zora felt sick. You've been stalking me for a year. I've been protecting you. There's a difference. The court wanted to take you immediately after Nari was born, but I convinced them to wait. I told them your gift might not have manifested yet. I bought you time, Zora. I bought you a year of freedom. But now my brother has forced their hand. The test yesterday proved what you are. They won't wait anymore. Then I'll go to the police, Zora said. I'll tell them everything. The police can't help you. The court owns the police. Judges. Politicians. Law enforcement. You report them, and you will disappear within hours. A tragic accident. Or a sudden illness. Then what do you suggest? Zora demanded. That I just give up? Let them drain me? Watch my daughter grow up in their custody. Jiwoo stepped closer, his hand reaching out but not touching her. No. I suggest we run. Tonight. I have money. Offshore accounts. False identities. A car waiting 3 blocks from here. We take Nari and we disappear. We start over somewhere they'll never find us. Somewhere off the grid. Zora stared at him. The man she had loved. The man who had abandoned her. Now offering salvation. And you expect me to just trust you? She asked. After everything? No, I don't expect trust. I'm asking for faith. Just one leap, Zora. Give me this chance to make things right. To be the father Nari needs. Zora's phone buzzed in her pocket. A text. She pulled it out. Unknown number. We're watching. We see you at the trader. You have 30 seconds to walk away, or we will take you both. Zora turned the screen to show Jiwoo. His face went pale, the blood draining from his lips. They found us, he whispered. We need to move. Now. No, Zora said, her voice firm. Zora, please. I'm not running, Jiwoo. I'm going to the meeting tonight with your brother. That is suicide. Maybe. But at least I'll know the truth. All of it. Not just your version, or Dr. Moon's version, or your brother's version. I'm going to see it for myself. Jiwoo grabbed her arm, not roughly, but desperately. Please don't do this. I can't lose you again. I can't lose Nari. Zora pulled free, her eyes blazing. You lost us the day you left. This is my choice. My life. And I'm done letting other people make decisions for me. She turned and walked away, her spine straight, her head high. Jiwoo called after her, his voice breaking, but she didn't look back. She walked out of the park and into the gathering dark. The walk to Broad Street took 20 minutes. By the time Zora arrived, the sun had set completely. Streetlights cast long, skeletal shadows across the pavement. The city felt different at night, predatory. Kwon Tae-hyun was already there, standing on the same corner where she had saved his life. But this time, he wasn't dressed as a homeless man. He wore a perfectly tailored suit that cost more than Zora made in a year. His hair was styled back. He looked like what he really was, royalty. Someone with power. Someone with money. He smiled as Zora approached. It was a shark smile. You came, he said smoothly. I wasn't certain you would. You said you have something that belongs to me, Zora said. Direct. I appreciate that. Tae-hyun gestured to a sleek black sedan parked at the curb. It's in the vehicle. But first, we should talk. Talk here. If what you have to show me requires privacy, then I guess I'm not seeing it. Tae-hyun's smile faded a fraction. Zora, you're making this more difficult than it needs to be. I am trying to help you. Help me. Zora laughed, a harsh, jagged sound. You orchestrated an entire test. You made me think you were dying. You made me breastfeed you in public. You humiliated me. I proved what you are, Tae-hyun countered. There is no shame in that. You have a gift. A remarkable gift. And my family wants to honor it. We want to use it for something greater than yourself. Use it to resurrect some dead shaman? Zora shot back. Use me as a battery? Taehyun's expression flickered. Surprise. Then calculation. My brother told you that. Of course he did. Always trying to be the hero. But he doesn't understand. He never understood. Our guardian isn't some monster, Zora. She is salvation. She is the key to balancing the energy between worlds. To healing the rifts that have been growing for centuries. I don't care about your rifts, Zora said. I don't care about your guardian. I care about my daughter. And she will be protected, Taehyun said, stepping closer. Cherished. Raised in the court with every advantage. Every opportunity. She will learn to use her gift properly. She will be part of something ancient. Something beautiful. She'll be a prisoner. She'll be a princess. Taehyun's voice turned silky dangerous. Zora, listen to reason. Carriers appear maybe once every 50 years. One's as strong as you? Maybe once every 2 centuries. You are extraordinary. And your daughter has even more potential. The combination of your bloodline and ours, it is unprecedented. She could become the most powerful guardian the court has ever seen. And if I refuse? Taehyun's smile returned, cold and sharp as a scalpel. Then we will take her anyway. And you will spend the rest of your very short life wondering what became of her. Is that really what you want? You can't take her, Zora said quietly. The mark beneath her shirt began to burn. Because if you try, I'll make sure everyone knows what you are. I'll expose you. No one will believe you, Taehyun scoffed. And even if they did, we have resources beyond your imagination. Lawyers. Media. We will discredit you. Paint you as an unfit mother. You will lose custody through legal means, Zora, and there won't be a thing you can do about it. The energy in Zora's chest expanded. It wasn't fear anymore. It wasn't anger. It was something primal. Something ancient. Let it out, the voice inside her whispered. The air around you is shimmering, Taehyun observed, his eyes widening. You're channeling without training? Without guidance? Impressive. But dangerous. Good, Zora said. Then stay back. But Taehyun didn't move. Instead, he raised his hand. Suddenly, the energy in Zora's chest compressed. It felt like a giant hand squeezing her heart. She fell to her knees, gasping for air. I didn't want to do this, Taehyun said, kneeling beside her. But you leave me no choice. The court's will is absolute. Through the haze of pain, Zora saw movement. A figure emerging from the shadows behind Taehyun. It was Jiwoo. He moved silently, a small blade in his hand. But before he could strike, 3 more figures emerged. Men in dark suits. Court enforcers. They grabbed Jiwoo, slamming him against the brick wall. Brother, Taehyun sighed without turning around. Always so predictable. Always so desperate. Jiwoo struggled, blood trickling from his lip. Let her go, he screamed. This is between us. Leave her out of it. I can't do that, Taehyun said. You know I can't. Zora's vision was darkening. The compression was getting worse. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. And then, she looked at Jiwoo. At the blood on his face. At the terror in his eyes. And something inside her snapped. It wasn't a break. It was a release. Like a dam bursting. Get away from me. The energy exploded outward. It wasn't just light. It was a physical force. A shockwave of pure, golden power. Taehyun flew backward, hitting the black sedan with enough force to dent the door. The men holding Jiwoo were thrown like ragdolls, skidding across the pavement. Windows in nearby buildings shattered, raining glass onto the street. Car alarms screamed to life, a cacophony of noise. Zora stood up slowly. And now the glow wasn't just on her chest. It covered her entire body. Golden light poured from her skin like she was made of stars. Her hair floated around her head as if she were underwater, glowing at the tips. Impossible, Taehyun whispered from the ground, clutching his ribs. You shouldn't be able to control. I'm not controlling it, Zora said. Her voice echoed, layered with a resonance that didn't sound entirely human. I am it. She turned her gaze to the men in suits. They scrambled back, terrified. Stay away from me, she commanded. Stay away from my daughter. If you come near either of us again, I won't hold back. Before you scroll past this moment, Realize what you just witnessed. Zora just leveled up. If you want to see her burn the Lunar Court to the ground, you need to subscribe right now. Comment "Golden" below if you're ready for the war that's coming. Do it now. Zora turned and ran. The glow began to fade, but the adrenaline surged. She ran toward her mother's apartment, needing to see the empty space to confirm Nari was safe. She burst through Viola's door. It was empty. No note. No sign of struggle. Just silence. Zora collapsed against the wall, sliding down to the floor. Safe. They're safe. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Zora answered, her breath coming in jagged gasps. Hello. Zora Bennett. A woman's voice. Old. Ancient. Speaking English with an accent that belonged to no particular place or time. It sounded like wind whistling through a canyon. You've made quite the impression, the voice said. The court has been watching you for some time. But that display tonight, that was remarkable. Unprecedented. Who is this? Zora demanded. I think you know. Deep down, you've always known. I am the one they are trying to bring back. The one they think they are serving. Zora froze. The shaman. But here is a secret, Zora. I never left. I've been here all along. Watching. Waiting. Growing stronger with every carrier they drain. Every gift they steal. They think they are preparing a vessel for my return. They don't realize they are feeding me. Zora's blood ran cold. Where is my mother? Where is Nari? Safe. For now. Your mother did exactly as you instructed. They are crossing the state line as we speak. But Zora, they will find her. The court always finds what they are looking for. Unless you give me what I need. And what is that? Your gift. Freely given. Not stolen. That is the key they have been missing, Zora. Stolen energy is useful, but it is limited. Corrupted. Freely given energy. Energy offered with full knowledge and consent. That is unlimited. That is transformative. You want me to sacrifice myself, Zora said. I want you to make a trade. Give me your gift, Zora. Come to me. And I will protect your daughter. I will make her untouchable. The court will never harm her. She will live a normal, happy life. I give you my word. The word of a dead shaman. Why would I trust the word of a ghost? The voice laughed, dry and rattling. Because you have no other choice. Come to the address on the card tomorrow night. 9 p.m. Come alone. Come willingly. And bring your gift as an offering. Do this, and your daughter lives free. Refuse, and the court will hunt you both until the end of time. Choose wisely, Zora. You have 24 hours. The line went dead. Zora stood in the dark apartment. The weight of the world pressed down on her shoulders. She pulled the phone away from her ear. She called Dr. Moon. No answer. She called Jiwoo. No answer. Everyone who had offered help, offered truth, offered salvation, they were all gone. She was alone. Just her and the mark on her chest. Just her and 24 hours to decide if she would trade her soul for her daughter's freedom. Zora walked to the window and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, the Lunar Court was preparing. Somewhere out there, an ancient spirit was waiting to be fed. And somewhere out there, her daughter was sleeping in a car seat, unaware that her mother was about to make the hardest choice of her life. The black card sat on the table where she'd left it. The silver writing had changed again. 23 hours, 47 minutes. A countdown. Always a countdown. Zora picked up the card. The moment her fingers touched the matte black surface, she heard the voice again. Not in her head. Not on the phone. But in the room. One more thing, Zora. When you come tomorrow, you will learn the truth about what you really are. About why your bloodline was chosen. You aren't just a carrier. You are a key. And tomorrow night, you will open a door that has been locked for 600 years. The question is, will you walk through it willingly? Or will I drag you through it screaming? Zora looked down at the street. She saw them. Taehyun. Dr. Moon. Even Jiwoo, held by 2 guards. All standing under the streetlight, looking up at her window. Not moving. Just watching. And behind them, filling the shadows of the alleyway, were dozens more. The members of the Lunar Court. An army of silent watchers. Zora closed the curtains. She turned away from the window. She had one day to prepare. One day to decide if she would fight or surrender. One day to figure out how to save Nari from forces she barely understood. One day to become something more than human or die trying. The mark on her chest pulsed once, bright, searing, golden. And somewhere in the darkness, something ancient smiled. If you want to be there when Zora walks through that door, you need to subscribe to Afro-Korean Soul Tales right now. Don't just watch, join the movement. Like this video, comment, I am the key, and hit that bell so you're the first to see part 2. Because trust me, you have no idea what's coming next.